inside my DNA. I got loyalty, got royalty inside my DNA. I got loyalty, got war and peace inside my DNA. I got purpose and pain and joy inside my DNA. 死んだ天性 I was born with this world. Immaculate conception, I transformed before like this was out. You want a weapon, I know you. I meditated on your did that.
Yo, what is going on, my fellow Marvel fans? Welcome to another episode of Power Hour. Now, if you follow my brother, who's going to be joining us here in a minute, on his channel, he did a whole DC stream about a lot of the upcoming comics, and I guess video games, anything new monthly, and the rest of 2023 and 2024 releases. And me, I'm going to do the Marvel. So before we get into it, let me go ahead and bring him onto the show. Hey, yo, cue the clip! Yo, what's up, bro?
Flame on! How's everybody doing?
What's good, dude? Marvel has a big lineup on when it comes to, I guess, movies, the comics, dude. I ain't gonna lie. After you told me about the DC releases next month, I had to do my research, and I am so excited because they're releasing volumes to comics that I really want to continue reading, or I haven't read, but I need to catch up on. But shout out to Marvel.
I will confirm this. Even though I don't pay attention to much of the new stuff going on at Marvel, I do catch up on trade paperbacks and omnibuy, just in case I end up on a fan debate or if I get fan requested, I'm at least aware of what's going on. So with that being said, let's get to it. Kid, you have the floor.
All right. So upcoming MCU movies. Now, I know we've talked about Deadpool 3, but there's been a lot of releases or a lot of, I guess, leaks. So we're going to get into the first one. Now, this one, Thunderbolt, I don't know if I'm probably going to go see that.
Now, the only thing really holding this back is Falcon the Winter Soldier. Now, to be fair, in the comics, U.S. Agent is an asshole. He is. But given it's just, I'm just gonna rip the band-aid and say it. The Disney in general has a branding problem right now, and ever since Marvel was acquisitioned into DC, Disney,
yes,
they're affected by this.
They are.
So they do not have the same momentum in brand trust as they did, say, 5, 7, or even 10 years ago.
Yeah, sure. When Marvel was its own self without Disney, it had so much creative potential and freedom. On top of, you can at least say that Marvel was going based off the comics. Now it still does, but Marvel has such a Disney touch.
It does. Now, whether it be via censorship, whether it be current corporate interest, it's product by committee at this point. And I hate to be that type of guy, but it is. You see everything. Okay, you look at like Ultimates, Civil War, Avengers versus X-Men, basically everything before Marvel Now and All New, All Different, you're at least getting a quality story out of it. Everything since 2014 onward are either half-baked ideas, rejected movie scripts that just happen to get approved by the editorial staff, or just mundane shelf titles that never go anywhere. Captain Marvel.
Oh, yes. Facts. Big facts. I got to take a drink to that. Big facts.
Now, with the Thunderbolts, they're just a group of villains or anti-heroes. They're essentially Marvel's version of the Suicide Squad who get roped together to do covert missions. Now, on its own, it's not that bad, but it's a very weak roster compared to the comics and what the Thunderbolts are known for. What the MCU has to offer is a very weak roster.
Okay, so this is what we're looking at when it comes to Thunderbolt. We see we got Harrison Ford, Florence, however you pronounce her last name, Hannah
Florence Pugh, Hannah John Kamen or Carmen. I probably butchered
Kamen,
Kamen. Thank you. I believe she's playing Ghost from Ant-Man and the Wasp.
and Wyatt Russell.
No, Wyatt Russell. Now, regardless of how much of an asshole U.S. agent as a character is, comic and Falcon the Winter Soldier, Wyatt Russell played the role well. I have to give him props. He played the role well.
What about Stephen Yeun?
As I believe this is the first time Sentry's playing a role. Okay, Sentry isn't really a villain / anti-hero. He's more of a contingent. He's kind of like, he is a Superman clone or Superman copy, but you only use him when shit's about to get real.
And then
David
Harbour, Lexi.
Great actor, definitely Stranger Things. Highly recommend his work.
And then you got Olga.
I have no idea who she plays. I think. Wait. She was supposed to be the MCU's version of Taskmaster. Now I remember.
And that's the cast. Now the main villain is said to be Sentry. Is rumored to be the villain of the Thunderbolts. The Thunderbolts team is a mixed bag of super soldiers, anti-heroes, and sleazy government types. The super soldiers in the lineup are Bucky Barnes, aka the Winter Soldier, U.S. Agent John Walker, Yelena Belova, and Red Guardian, and Taskmaster. Taskmaster? You talking about the one that beat Black Widow?
Yeah.
One that can analyze, it's the one that can analyze the enemy.
Basically, Sentry, like I said before, is a Superman clone, but he's not. This is the first time he's actually being used in a villain sense. He's probably going to be more like an antagonist, but I would have to see the premise of the plot.
And let's see what the plot is. The official synopsis of Marvel's Thunderbolts. It describes as a group, blah, blah, blah. It says, in Marvel Comics, Thunderbolts were originally a team disguised as heroes while the Avengers weren't around, but in reality were the masters of evil led by Baron Helmut Zemo. Wow. So, I mean, it might be interesting.
It's definitely interesting, especially if you count 2016 Suicide Squad, which is not a bad movie. It just went off the rails because, again, it's not the best lineup, but I just don't want this to be another movie by committee and it kind of implodes, like Captain Marvel 2, for example. Now, I'm just going on a brief tangent on this, I promise. Brie Larson, it's not that her IP is bad. It's just that she's a mid actress at best and completely unlikable at worst. You need chemistry, you need fan appeal, you need a caveat of screen. Now her performance, it's all right. Like I said, it's mid. It's all right. But like most divas and actors in general, she does have a bit of an ego problem to the point where there's virtually no appeal going into the Marvels. And Thinking Critical did a great video on this, but the Marvels, Captain Marvel 2, it's gonna bomb. Let's call it for what it is. It's gonna bomb.
It is.
But hopefully Thunderbolts
is
actually. Go ahead.
I'll let you finish. Go ahead, bro.
But hopefully Thunderbolts proves to be a good movie. So
yeah, and then on top of that, I never thought they would continue this after Endgame, but we are getting Captain America: Brave New World, and and this is supposedly coming after Thunderbolt. I'm pretty sure, this one's coming before Thunderbolt. Let's see. Yeah, it's 2024. We don't really got a release date, but if I'm correct, it comes after Thunderbolt, and Yeah, and it comes after what, Deadpool 3?
It's, okay, I have nothing against Captain America 4. I have nothing against it. I would argue Civil War was Captain America 3 for all intents and purposes.
I mean, technically it was Captain America Civil War. So that
So,
technically was the third movie.
yeah, technically. But even so, even
And so now
so,
we got Brave New World. So let's let's go ahead. I want to go ahead and see what this is about. So without further ado, let's go ahead and look at Captain America Brave New World. Now, this is the lineup for the movie.
so Harrison Ford, Anthony Mackie, Seth Rollins. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that.
Shira Haas. You got Tim Blake Nelson, Liv Tyler, and Danny Ramirez.
Joaquin Torres.
And it said is an upcoming movie produced by Marvel Studios and Disney. Now, let's see what the plot is. And there is no plot. Wow, we have nothing on this yet.
Nothing official, but if all were the absolute worst case scenario, this would be Falcon and Winter Soldier calling a do-over.
This is basically Falcon and Winter Soldier TV show basically extended into a movie basically.
Yeah, but with Falcon Cap already established. Okay, think of Falcon and Winter Soldier as Sam growing to don the shield, and Brave New World being him officially becoming Captain America.
And we have a trailer here.
We can't play audio due to copyright.
People were already reacted to this trailer though.
Yeah, but it's better safe than sorry. Just try to have the volume down just in case.
All right, let's go ahead and see. Okay, so I guess that was.
Now, I noticed how the scrolls played a role in the trailer, and if you haven't already watched Secret Invasion, it's all right. Samuel Jackson as Nick Fury still carries it, but depending on how much cringe, for lack of a better term, you've been exposed to the past few years, you're gonna just roll your eyes at the most recent episode.
Right.
But I'd say it's all right. It's not hitting on nothing. It's not going to get high ratings. I just feel like Secret Invasion is a very mid show. Now the comic storyline is great, but the show, the way they adapted it, it's mid. I got to be real here. It's kind of mid.
And
Kid, what did you think?
Well, I mean, I didn't really watch the Winter Soldier. So I can't really say. I mean, I'm not really a Falcon fan. I'm sorry.
No, he was one of the first active. I think he was Captain America's second sidekick after Bucky was presumed dead. I believe he debuted in the 70s, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
But I just feel like the MCU even it's just not what it used to be, man. And we are actually planning a video, Kid, my brother, Kid, and I, of how the MCU looks post Endgame and basically all the pitfalls and what could it do to salvage itself as a product. So that video is definitely in the works. I just had to prioritize some things. But the MCU is definitely at a downgrade. Phase 4 especially, and probably a little bit into Phase 5. Kid, what do you think?
Yeah, I totally agree. I really do. Now, this next one I'm really excited for is Ironheart, but it's not a movie. It's going to be on Disney Plus, and it's a TV show.
Okay, now this actually intrigues me. Well, but before we get started, Kid, do you know how Brian Michael Bendis came up with the name Ironheart?
No, shut up. I heard this. I heard this before.
Okay, on off chance there's any kids around, if there's any kids listening to this video right now, have your let your parents let you leave the room or cover your ears. let's just
Yeah.
let's just say Brian Michael Bendis, even if he has fallen off in his old age, let's just say he was doing some research. I'm sorry, man. I'm trying to keep this PG.
No, a little too much research. A little too much. A little too much
Okay,
research, man.
let's focus on what the actual show is going to adapt the character. Because in the comics, she was essentially she was a narcissist. Let's call it for what it is. But when Thanos humbled this girl in Champions, let's just say, okay, the best way I could describe Ironheart in the comics, she's the Guy Gardner of Marvel, to where she's kind of a blowhard, and when she gets her comeuppance, you can't help but feel satisfied. Kid, not
Right.
what I meant.
Shut up.
Oh, okay. Last pun. Last one. I'm sorry. Last one. Kid, what do you? Okay, Kid, how do you feel about the show? How do you feel about the character of Ironheart and Wakanda Forever? And what are your expectations about the show?
Well, I really hoped that Ironheart would have took more of the movie side instead of the TV show, and I wanted it to go based off the comic because how the comic actually started is when Tony Stark snapped his finger, his soul became an AI. He became like Jarvis basically, and he is the one that mentored and guided his daughter to be the next Iron Man, and that's how she became Ironheart. Now I don't know what if this show is gonna follow that, and if it don't, I lose all respect for Marvel.
I believe you're confusing that for the Elseworld story. Ironheart or Riri Williams was just some random young prodigy. While okay, Tony, this was in Civil War II. Tony ends up in a coma, so he made an AI of himself as ahead of time, and it kind of props up Riri that way. Now, if you're going for like Iron Maiden or basically Tony's daughter becoming Ironheart, that would be that's perfect. That's a direct passing of the torch. That's legacy. We even had the setup for it in Endgame, but I feel like they're going to go the Riri Williams route, especially since Riri debuted in Wakanda Forever.
Yep. And I ain't gonna lie, Wakanda Forever was a good movie.
It was a good movie.
It really was. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed how his sister stepped up and made an artificial
Artificial herb.
Black Panther herb.
Yeah,
And I'm like, she made it out of vibranium,
she did.
which I'm like, isn't that technically a metal?
What's up, Najee?
What up, Najee?
And that
But
Transformers Rise of the Beast review has been confirmed. I'm trying to get for the end of the month. I just need to find a date, but I will let you know, Najee, either today or tomorrow. But But yeah,
But
hopefully, I just
we're
feel
gonna
like
go ahead and present what we know.
yeah, the show almost gone. Go on, screen share.
So this is what I have found, or like the most basic details. It's a TV series, and it's intended to be a part of Marvel Cinematic Universe by Marvel Studios, sharing continuity with the films of the franchise. And this series was announced in December in 2020. And casting characters, we already know that. Okay, development is. I'm trying to see where the plot is. If they ever.
Development writing. I don't think they officially gave a plot synopsis.
Okay, is expected to premiere in 2024. It will consist of 6 episodes. It was originally scheduled to debut in late 23. However, by February 23, the series was unlikely to premiere that year as Disney and Marvel Studios were reevaluating the content output. It was reported to be releasing in 2024 in May 2023. It'll be a part of Phase 5 of the MCU.
And now we're at references.
So there's filming, design, casting. You see, who is they said Jim Rash was revealed to be his role as the dean of MIT from Captain America: Civil War.
Hmm.
Hmm. They brought him back.
Yep.
Yeah, but so far I don't really see any plot. I couldn't find nothing on Google either.
I wouldn't be surprised if Ironheart ends up in development hell. But for all intents and purposes, I'm willing to give anything a chance. I give it 2-3 episodes, and if I just can't get into it, I just leave it.
Yeah.
Like for example, I never finished the Miss Marvel TV show. I just couldn't get into it. I'm sorry, I just couldn't get into it. I already had a perception of her from the
I couldn't get
comics.
into it either.
I mean, yeah, it's your. I felt like I was watching something on Disney Channel, just a tween rom com condensed into a mini series,
Right.
and not the good ones like Wizard of Waverly Place or Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. Not even Drake and Josh on Nickelodeon. None of the good ones. One of the generic ones from like the 2010 onward.
We were not getting to the Nickelodeon shows because, the producer was a rapist.
Yeah, Dan Snyder wasn't exactly subtle.
Oh, him and Drake Bell got along just fine. Cause guess what? Drake Bell's one too. Oh, I'm sorry.
Now, the least we cover
Look,
that.
you know it's true. You know it's true.
I'm not going to
Yeah.
make a statement on the record on that. All I know is that situation was settled out of court. That's all I know about it.
Oh, Drake Bell's still facing a lot of. And
But
let's see. No, I'm
now
okay.
Josh
So
Peck has moved on to bigger and better things, and I congratulate Josh Peck from that. He's actually grown into his own, despite the insecurity problems he was dealing with during the show's run.
right.
So I definitely commend him for that. Now, would I say Drake Bell is an all at least? Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna say it. Even before he got the Peter Parker role in Ultimate Spider-Man, his career had all but imploded. He was on the Amanda Show. He was a co-star.
Oh,
in
he
the
did
Amanda.
play Ultimate Spider-Man, the voice of Ultimate Spider-Man.
He did, and that lasted about 2
I
seasons.
forgot about that. Yeah, and then he went off the rails.
Somewhere around that time, yes. And I believe it was shortly after that is when his career imploded.
And when Drake and Josh aired, I think that's when he tried to do better, but yeah, he still wasn't.
He did have a brief music career adjacent to the show, but with the resurgence of iCarly and other factors, getting older, he kind of just fell off. His music career never really took off, so he kept doing voice acting on the side.
Right.
Then he ended up getting in debt with the studio because every time you go to the studio, you got to make money. You got to make sure your album sells, your covers. Again, he just went off the rails. Now I don't know the full details on this, but at some point within the past 3 to 4 years, Drake Bell just went off the deep end. But the way he tried to turn Josh's wedding into a publicity stunt, not cool, dude.
Oh yeah, that wasn't cool at all. Now we're gonna go ahead and get into our next one. Now I don't know much about this Marvel movie Echo. It was kind of new to me. I was like, Echo, hold up now. But after doing a little, research, I don't even know if you're caught up with it, but that is what I have found so far. And it's a fictional character appearing in American comic books, the adoptive daughter of the Kingpin. Oh,
Yep,
oh!
and Hawkeye.
It's part of the Daredevil series. The character has been as supporting character of the right here, right
She's
here. That
Yep,
right, that's what I know who she is now.
yep. She's a supporting character on Daredevil, but she had her MCU debut on Hawkeye.
Hey, she sure did.
But she's technically a Daredevil supporting character. I don't know why they put her there. Probably because they were trying to prop up Echo to begin with, so they kind of just gave her a backdoor pilot somewhere in the season. But yeah,
Now I ain't gonna lie, Daredevil is actually a good character too. I liked his little cameo in No Way Home when he was Peter's lawyer.
yep,
He caught that brick without even looking.
yeah, super enhanced senses. But say what you will about the whole soft reboot. Technically, the original Daredevil series on Netflix was MCU adjacent, but higher executives and higher ups didn't want it to be directly canon to the MCU because they wanted the movies to stand on their own as their own product, hence the
Right.
Marvel Cinematic Universe. So Daredevil getting a soft reboot isn't really all that surprising. But you're essentially retreading old material. That's the downgrade. And because Marvel has been directly acquiesced into Disney, MCU Daredevil is going to be toned down. Let's just call it for what it is. All the darker material Daredevil is known for, like the hand resurrecting, Daredevil is going to get toned down. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's definitely like I don't think Daredevil's gonna make a comeback.
I don't even think Punisher is going to even make an appearance in the show. Jeez, like seriously.
If anything, at least they're giving Blade a reboot in Secret War.
Yeah, but I think that's more so due to fan service than anything.
Should have been Nicolas Cage. Hopefully he sticks with it.
Nicolas Cage will do anything. You pay enough money to actually cement his casting and contract for the film, he'll do it.
I really want him back as Ghost Rider. But now here's one movie that I really do think that you will have a lot to talk about is this one.
Spider-Verse 2. Now, yeah, this was a pretty good film. I just want to clear something up right off the bat. Miguel O'Hara was not the direct villain of this film. The Spot, which is a D-list Spider-Man villain, but he was actually given some shine here. Miguel is a thematic foil or an antagonist to where he's
they were so basically this ain't the one that just hit theaters. This is the part 2.
Wait, they split across the Spider-Verse 2 into a two-parter? You might as well just call it Spider-Verse 3.
Yeah, it's actually it's Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse Part 2.
Huh.
So I have no idea what to expect from this one. The I ain't gonna lie, Into the Spider-Verse was a very comic book looking movie. So colorful, and the CGI was amazing.
Yeah, and it's and it told a natural. Okay, Spider-Verse. The reason Spider-Verse made bank was because it wasn't a product by committee film. It had an organic story. It was crafted well. and it gave a proper balance between Miles and the other dimension Peter, who was a little older. His relationship with MJ had imploded. He was down on his luck, and he was re-inspired by Miles to be a hero and the moral of what being Spider-Man means to him. He kind of became jaded in his old age. Which this version of Peter is like in his late
Yeah.
30s, early 40s, so it's natural. And I believe he was
So
actually based
I
on,
really,
he was actually I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just really hope that we see more of 2099 Spider-Man.
Miguel Ferreira.
Yes, that's my favorite one. I know I keep saying that, but I want him on the big screen.
You know, he was supposed to get a show back in the 90s, early 2000s, but because it was 2099 was so similar to Batman Beyond, they had to pull the plug on it. But yeah, Miguel O'Hara would have gotten a show.
Like I want to see a live action, like a Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, but I want to see a Miguel Spider-Man.
A live action Miguel O'Hara, Spider-Man 2099.
It's a little overdue. You can't say he's not a fan favorite.
I'm not going to say he's not a fan favorite, but Neopunk in live action is very hard to pull off. Cyberpunk, I mean.
Yeah, true. Or or I want to see the black suited Spider-Man from the comics, the one that was all black but had the big white spider.
The symbiote suit.
Yeah, we need a comic book based one. Now everybody's hinting that Andrew might get that one.
Maybe if Amazing Spider-Man gets a third movie, it's definitely.
Remember, I already confirmed it. It's already in makes.
Definitely.
So, and we already know Venom is going to be the villain. So I'm just like, please let this symbiote suit be an improvement from the ones we already had.
Now, to be fair, the Raimi suit was not that bad. It wasn't comic accurate, but it wasn't a bad suit.
Yeah, it really wasn't. It was actually real good. It looked so good. But I feel like the spider should have been white instead of black. Even when Eddie had got the symbiote in Spider-Man 3, he didn't look like the comic Venom.
Oh, the Venom design in Spider-Man 3 was atrocious. If you're going to have Venom, get a bulky guy to play Venom and carry some menace. Topher Grace, which is Eric from that 70s show, he plays a good Eddie Brock. But I would not have actually put him in the Venom costume or the Venom design. I would have retrofitted.
Right.
I would have casted a separate actor, or at least put the stunt double in the suit. Someone more with a bigger build and could be intimidating.
Because he was too small and skinny.
Or at the very least, put CGI on top of him and just make him look more monstrous.
Like how you did the one that's actually been MCU confirmed. Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy. Just put some CGI on top of him. If you're really going to go with a skinnier actor, put in the extra money and put some CGI on top of him. But that's because Venom is not actively a suit. Venom is the symbiote itself. So you don't really need a suit on top of him. There's no point. You can just CGI it. You stack the CGI and nothing changes. But again, this was like 2008. This was like 2007. So CGI technology wasn't really that refined at the time.
So,
but that tangent.
But for me personally, there's nothing I can find on the part 2 yet. But I really hope that they go above and beyond, same as they just did Across the Spider-Verse that just hit theaters, because it broke box office.
It did.
This part 2 has a lot to, I guess,
live up to.
Yes.
The hype is there, but can it execute it? Can it live up to it? Excuse me.
We will never know until they release, I guess, more info on it. Now, to the comic side, this is the one I am very, very excited for. And we are going to go down the list of there's a website that I usually, it's like a Marvel calendar, and you can also buy comics too. So I will also leave this link at the end of the chat. But so The first one I want to go over, Wolverine,
Wolverine
number
number 30.
35, right here. Nope. How do you? Okay, and that's what it says. Weapons, weapons of
Weapons of Exclusion.
exclusion. Wolverine Beast. Only one of them left standing after these Clone Wars. And if it ain't no clone, the brutal finale of Wolverine's clone saga sets the stage for Logan's next journey, and presage things to come.
Prestigious.
That is an A, not an E.
I think they were trying to say proceed, but that's a typo.
That's what I'm saying. That was an A, not an E. It was supposed to be prestige, not presages.
Yeah. But I feel like the whole
But
Krakoa
things
plot
to
line,
come for.
Krakoa, which is basically this small island to give the mutants some sanctuary, essentially combining the X-Men and Magneto's Brotherhood of Evil into one. It was an intriguing concept at first, but I feel like now it's run its course. And if Tevi actually did a review on Hellfire Gala #1, I feel like they're actually dropping the Krakoa plot line. I feel like they're finally going to drop it because this has gone on for like what 5-7 years.
Yep.
So I feel like, especially with the mutants having constant multi-res, almost as if it's like getting the Dragon Balls together.
Krillin,
Sensu Bean!
stay dead this time. Fetty Krill always get respect real quick. You gotta love Team 4-Star.
I give you points for trying, buddy. I give you points for trying. But yeah, even when he was working on DC during Rebirth, Benjamin Percy is one of my favorite modern writers. So definitely check out this book, or even follow this run just because it's Benjamin Percy.
Yes, he is a good writer. And are you a fan of the Spider-Man? Because we have Spider-Man issue, or the Amazing Spider-Man issue 30. And this is what it looks like right here.
Yeah, I have nothing against the Spider-Man comics themselves. It's just Zeb Wells is forced to take the heat for what was essentially an editorial fuck you to Nick Spencer. And it backfired.
Yes, it collapsed.
Like, no one's really vibing this. Who's this Paul character? Like, I get it. It's editorial mandate. You have to appease these people to some extent if you want your book to get published in time to meet deadlines. But let it go. The main reason he left for Substack was because you kept screwing him over in royalties.
Yes.
At least you didn't want to pay the man. So he made an active move to actually build up something new with Substack, and then you try to get back at him at the customer's expense.
And it doesn't work out.
Does no one understand basic business economics?
Apparently not.
Don't bite the hand that feeds you. Period.
Right. But I can really say that now. I feel like that this matchup is just so centuries old. Doc Ock, and now we got the improved Doc Ock. It's just like, can we not get a new character or a new villain?
Yeah, and I feel like Peter Parker Spider-Man is in the same rut he was 15, 20 years ago, which led to the infamous One More Day, where it's the opposite problem, because originally with One More Day, higher ups didn't want Peter to grow up. They wanted him to relate to everybody in every market. Whereas you already had that way, they wanted to keep him perpetually young. Nowadays, you have Miles in the main continuity of the Marvel books to where he could be the young Spider-Man.
And these older Spider-Mans are just they're just olding their way out of the MCU.
And don't get it twisted. There's nothing wrong with Miles, especially with the momentum he's gotten from Spider-Verse. All you have to do is actually go through Synergy, actually follow that plot point, and actually have Peter, maybe with MJ, maybe with Black Cat, however you want to do it, and take more of a backseat and focus on being an adult. Since like 2, 3, arguably 4 generations of fans both relate to Peter Parker as an adult and as when they were kids. So this is a very obvious move to make. But when you actually grow a character out and actually have them tackle adult things, it's a very high risk, high reward scenario, especially if it's an established character. To where why you're suddenly trying to make them grow up or be something that they're not. It's a very intricate balance. So you definitely need the right writer to pull it off.
And
I would I wouldn't give this to I wouldn't if I was gonna have Peter grow up and maybe have a family, I wouldn't put modern Bendis on that book to save my life. I just wouldn't do it. Benjamin Percy or
yeah, I
Patrick
wouldn't
Gleason.
either.
Those are probably the only two I would risk, and even then, it's a high ball.
It is. They're really playing Russian roulette with that one. But Venom issue 23, I might read, and it says a new version of Toxin. Toxin is the offspring of one of the most dangerous symbiotes in history, Carnage. While Carnage and Cletus Cassidy are separated and both devising
Machinations and plans of cosmic bloodshed and conquest.
yeah, and what has
Its progeny been
it been
doing?
doing? It says in Dylan Brock or oh, did it say Project? Oh yeah, it
No,
sure did.
it's saying,
La,
will
la, la.
Dylan, Brock, or the Venom symbiote survive when they come face to face with its latest terrifying toxin? Plus, Toxin isn't the only symbiote in the story who's unlike anything you've ever seen.
The symbiote family is about to grow a little larger, and what's coming will change the continuing saga of the symbiotes. Huh. So besides Carnage, so we're getting a new symbiote?
Technically, there's been so many other versions of Toxin, and I just like after like no like Null King or basically the Null storyline, I kind of got burned out from Venom because it's essentially the same story over and over again until you get the inevitable conclusion of Eddie Brock gets cancer, or he ends up with Flash Thompson becomes anti-Venom. I just feel like Venom is he's still a badass, he's still iconic, but he's a product of his time because Venom debuted in the late 80s, early 90s. Yep. So Venom and Carnage are very much products of their time. At least in my opinion.
Yeah, I still think that Venom would probably be the most powerful symbiote still because he has, I guess, that connection with Eddie.
Oh, definitely, because because that's a balanced relationship when it comes to a symbiote and their host. Anyone else has either been a mismatch or their host actively rejected them. Peter Parker. Excuse me.
Or the symbiote clearly took over the host.
That's true.
Because I think there was one symbiote that literally took over the host. Made the body its own.
Pretty much.
So yeah, everybody. Here's a scientific fact. Stay away from symbiotes. Now, this one I actually saw at the comic book shop today.
Okay.
And wait, no, that's the wrong one. Oh, my fault.
Ghost Rider by Benjamin Percy.
But we got Ghost Rider, yes, version 16. Now, actually seeing this in person, I didn't even know it was the new copy until I saw on this website, and it was just like, yo, I just saw this like not a couple hours ago. And over the years, they said the same hitchhiker has found Danny Ketch, Robbie Reyes, and now Johnny Blaze. Join us for this standalone tale of terror that threatens the past, the present, and the future of all Ghost Riders.
Now, again, if it's Benjamin Percy on the book, I might give it a chance. Because, again, Benjamin Percy is a great writer. But this is one of the few times where all three Ghost Riders are collectively together and interacting for a story. So this is definitely interesting.
I've always wanted to see the three teamed up. Now, it would be nice if they have four and somehow bring back Carter Slade.
Yeah, that would have been a nice touch, but I don't think they're going to reveal that part in the prompt. But kid, what do you think?
Uh, I mean, I'm excited for it. I mean, granted, Ghost Rider is one of my favorite Marvel characters. Uh, I am very excited. Now, what I do think Robbie Reyes need to make his appearance on the big screen.
Even though Johnny Blaze is arguably the most iconic version of Ghost Rider, if not the default Ghost Rider people think. No, Danny Ketch is one of the first ones. I believe he's the second one, and Johnny Blaze makes the
And
third. But if you think
no,
Johnny,
I thought Robbie came after Johnny.
no. I may be wrong on this one. I'm pretty sure the order is the guy you mentioned outside the prompt: Danny Ketch, Johnny Blaze, and then Robbie Reyes. Hold on, let me look this up right quick.
Johnny was the second one. Carter Slade was the first. It was Carter, Johnny, Robbie, and then wasn't it Danny?
Hold on, order of the Ghost Riders. Hold on, let me try to look this up. Johnny Blaze debuted in 1975. Johnny Blaze debuted in 1971. Danny Ketch, Blade's long lost younger brother, debuted in 1990 because Blaze gave up his powers in 1983, and he wouldn't be until Ghost Rider one when a new person stepped in to fill the Ghost Rider
But
vacuum.
he gave up his Ghost Rider powers.
Yeah, Johnny Blaze was the second Ghost Rider. Okay, here's what I'm looking at. The retcon from 28C, 1 million BC Ghost Rider, basically the retcon from ancient times. The Xenon from 11th century, 2018 run, 2016 run. Now, okay, you got, yeah, I'm pretty sure Johnny Blaze 1971, Danny Ketch in the 90s, Robbie Reyes in 2014. There's a Ghost Rider 2029, Zero named Kenshiro Zero Cochran. That's Ghost Rider 2099.
Yep.
And there's multiversal Ghost Riders, but I believe the very first, yeah, Carter Slade had the honor of using it first. Carter Slade was the very first Ghost Rider, at least in publication wise. Carter was the very first Ghost Rider.
And so I'm not a fan of the whole She-Hulk, I guess.
Are you talking
comic.
about the show?
I didn't the comic and the show. We didn't really get much on this one, but that's what it looks like. She-Hulk number 15.
Okay.
It just came out yesterday, and I saw that today too. I was like, yeah, it didn't really look, I guess, that intriguing to me. Not really much of a She-Hulk fan, ladies and gentlemen. I am sorry to say it, but now this one I would read. And that is Deadpool number 9.
Now, to be fair,
And that's what we got.
a lot of the time Deadpool, if you buy or read a Deadpool comic, a lot of the time it's zany nonsense, but you're still gonna have a good time reading it.
Yeah, I would definitely have a good time reading this. I like the cover art.
At the mercy of the Horned Emperor, Deadpool has been in a lot of tough spots, but this is definitely the first time that he's been captured by an antlered clown head. Wait, is this basically Deadpool versus the one-head horseman, the headless horseman? Excuse me. I feel like someone just okay. This is basically Deadpool versus the headless horseman.
Agree to disagree.
Well, that's the premise. That's what I'm getting from the premise. But again, I haven't kept up with modern Deadpool in years, so I'm a little rusty.
And then we have Iron Man. And let's see if now this one actually looks very intriguing to me. Invincible Iron Man, number 8. Didn't really say anything. When is it? It actually, yeah, it came out yesterday. Now
Yep.
that actually looks kind of dope. Now, what could they possibly do in Iron Man? Isn't Tony Stark already killed off?
Yeah, but that's the thing with Resurrection. Some if they're a popular character, they're gonna come back. It's either because they're popular or because they're eventually going to preserve this, restore the status quo. But yes, Tony Stark. He's a good character. Before the MCU, I would argue Iron Man was a C-lister prior to the MCU.
Yeah, I feel he. I would say he is one of the faces of Marvel, but I mean he at least there he's still living on in the comics. I mean, we wish Robbie Downey Jr. was still back.
Yeah, but I feel like that was more of a personal reason for Rodney Downey Jr. to live. Because let's be honest, if you've actually read an Iron Man comic and you've seen Robbie Downey Jr., not just because he's an actor, but his actual personal life, he naturally carries that role because because Tony's so much like him, to the point to where he was hardly pushed as an actor to play Tony. He was just acting like himself most of the time. Just a bit more crude and candish in his social interactions. But other than that, it was just another day at the office. That's
True, true, true.
So I feel like Oppenheimer and where he's going on now to bigger and better things is an opportunity to re-push himself as an actor after being stagnant for a decade, just being himself, essentially playing a fictional version of himself.
I mean, this man was living the role. Ah.
And fun fact, it almost didn't go to Rodney Downey Jr. Rodney Downey Jr. was an animal in the 90s.
It
The guy
really
was a
didn't. He
mess.
got that by luck. What about that one? Cosmic Ghost Rider, issue 5.
Now, this one I have not seen or read at all. This is the first time I'm looking like Cosmic Ghost Rider. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a popular character. Like, Cosmic Ghost Rider is OP, so don't get me wrong. But yeah, I did not know that was a current series. I did not know that.
Yeah, they are 5 issues in. Now, I think Cosmic Ghost Rider also needs a movie. Like, isn't if I'm not wrong, this is the one that he's the Ghost Rider that travels the galaxy, right? Yes.
He would be the most plausible for an MCU adaptation because Ghost Rider most of the time is a pretty grounded character. He is essentially Marvel's Spirit of Vengeance, so he's a pretty grounded character most of the time. But if you really want the gravitas with an MCU adaptation, you might as well use Cosmic Ghost Rider. You might
Because
as well.
you got to think Guardians of the Galaxy, Thor, and all that. A lot of Marvel happened in space.
It did. A lot
So
of the
it would
MCU
make
happened in
sense.
space.
It would have made sense that they could have came across Cosmic Ghost Rider on some universe or some planet.
Maybe.
And we're going to go on to the X client. Now, you probably know more about this one than I do because I don't know anything about the X client.
You sure that ain't pronounced excellent, like a play on the word excellent?
Oh, snap. I just now realized that. Oh, but I haven't really caught up on a lot of the, X-Men stuff. So, and they didn't even give us anything on that, but that issue is out too. So and yes, we have another Iron Man one, you guys, another freaking Iron Man. Now this one, I cannot understand the freaking cover art.
Yeah, this I don't even know what this is. Now, it's good to have a deep cut or retro villain come back in the modern day for a story, but this synopsis isn't really doing it any favors.
Right. It really ain't. Like this right here is not gonna sell. I don't see this selling.
And all
Maybe for collectors purposes, but
yeah.
I don't I just by the cover it just doesn't grab me at all.
Now Marvel does stack on rely on variant covers. So if this particular one isn't to your liking, you can always find a random variant. Do they actually show the variant covers on the site?
True. No, I feel like this was more like simple and just thought on right on the spot and then printed. Like it doesn't have no detail, no nothing.
No. By the looks of this was crapped out in a weekend.
It really was. And I don't even want to read it. What about Hellcat? Hellcat issue 5, dude. No, I love Hellcat. I fucking love Hellcat. And that's what we're looking at.
Patsy
No,
has been now. Tony, especially if you're going off synergy from the '90s Iron Man animated series, Tony and Hellcat have kind of had a thing, but it's a very toxic relationship.
yep. It says Patsy has been transformed into demonic Hellcat with her very humanity at stake. Can she overcome the powers of darkness that has been unleashed? All is revealed as both the past and present collide in the final battle that will determine the rest of Hellcat's future.
If she has one.
Yeah, that's kind of. Why she look like Batman?
I think that was an aesthetic choice by the cover artist, by Pierre Perez. That was an aesthetic choice.
It's so look like Batwoman.
It's pretty much Batwoman.
And then we got Hollow's Eve. Now, I don't know anything about this. If anybody knows anything about Hollow's Eve, please,
Wait, I'm pretty. If I remember
leave a
this
comment.
right,
It says
if I
Hellfire.
Hellfire Gala variant cover by Bengal. Hollow's Eve is backed into a corner as her masks are being used against her. With the playing field even out, it all comes down to a battle of wit and will. Will Eve come out alive? Now, I do remember hearing about this a few months ago that Mary Jane's clone, created by Sinister, was getting a new villain name. I don't think this is her, but I believe that character was being promoted around the same time Hollow's Eve was.
Yes.
But but yeah, this week in Marvel
Yeah.
sounds pretty decent, at least from what you're showing me.
And then we also have issue 5 of Avengers Beyond. Now, I really do love this cover art.
Nice.
It says New York has fallen. The lost one steps over the broken bodies of heroes and villains alike in his search for the Beyonder, who cowers in the shadows without his powers. Outplayed and outmaneuvered, the Avengers have one last chance
To snatch a
to snap
desperate
desperate victory from the jaws of the imaginable defeat. Yep.
defeat.
And that he still looks like Thanos. But that is the lost one. So we got Captain Marvel, Black Panther, Thor, Iron Man, She-Hulk, Captain America. What is She-Hulk gonna do?
Now I agree, she's nowhere near Bruce's power level, but she can hold her own in her own right.
And this one I know you're excited for.
Darth Vader, black, white, and red. Even if I am a Star Wars fan prior outside the sequel trilogy stuff, the Star Wars comics have been hit or miss, especially the old Republic stuff. Like that, a force sentient rock. Like what the hell? But that's a separate conversation for a different stream. Trapped on the frozen planet Hoth, Frank Thierry sends Vader to Hoth. Steve Orlando goes cerebral with the corruption of Vader's mind. Plus, the final chapter of Jason Aaron's and Leonard Kirk's Dark Tales.
So trapped on a frozen planet, he sends Vader to Hoth. Wait, so I thought Vader was the leader, but someone sent him, so that means
No,
somebody.
no. Frank Tier is one of the writers. This is an anthology series.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this synopsis isn't really doing the book any favors.
Yeah, it really is not. But I ain't gonna lie, the cover art looks dope, though.
Yeah, solid, definitely solid, imposing. Got the snow troopers there. But if it's an ice planet, why do you have lush grass on the bottom of the cover art?
Yeah, that was poor choice.
That was poor choice. I feel like that when this cover was made, they thought it was going to be a jungle aesthetic, only to then realize last minute that in the script it was going to be Hoth. So I feel like, at least going by this cover,
It was
this
snow.
was supposed to, yes, snow. But I feel like when earlier on, this is probably just miscommunication. But hey, who knows? Maybe this is setting up a jungle planet in a future issue. So who knows?
And now let's take a look at Avengers Chapter 3. And it says, the first tribulation event strikes the Earth. The Avengers fly into action as the Ashen Combine, a collection of the multiverse's greatest monsters, descends from the impossible city to follow the respective appetites. City slayers all pursuing the assassination. Yeah, I said appetites. City slayers all pursuing the assassination of Metropolitan. Oh my freaking god! Why not just say Metropolis area
for sport?
Because basically it's the same thing.
But if you say Metropolis, people are going to say, "Wait, is Superman in this book?"
Well, Metropolis is basically a geographical term for an area.
Yeah, that's metropolitan area is basically the plural for a metropolis.
Yeah, I know. I was just saying, why don't they just use that? I mean, you're not wrong. It's basic grammar. But
I agree.
I agree. But the city slayers.
It's an interesting plot line, but I could easily see this go. If this drags out too long, I could see people becoming bored with it. This is a very simplistic premise that shouldn't go longer than a few issues.
Yeah, I don't see much of the City Slayers continuing more than 6-7 issues.
Yeah, I do not see this being a long comic.
And let's see, the Cult of Carnage. Yep, that's it. Cult of Carnage Misery. Issue 3. Life is lost, but all the symbiotes in Alchemax's care have been stolen, including the 5 Life Foundation symbiotes. Wow.
Harnessing each other for their unique abilities, a mysterious and classic symbiote villain has started making moves in the chaos of the summer of symbiotes. But who? Read and find out.
So we're not gonna have Venom. This is all Carnage.
I wouldn't be surprised, because you can't really rely on Venom for everything. You got to let some of the other symbiote-based characters branch out.
So somebody stole 5 symbiotes.
To be fair, if they're not bound to a living host, they're just sitting in a jar, so it wouldn't be hard to pull off.
And then on top of that, who in their right mind can sit there and balance 5 symbiotes to their body?
I guess that's the point of this comic. Someone tries to exploit a power they don't fully understand. It goes wrong. They lose their mind, and that's how they're defeated. But hey, who am I to spoil an entire story arc just off of presumption?
And then we got Danny Ketch's Ghost Rider. And we got issue 3. And this is what we're looking at. And it says the Scarecrow is unleashed. The mysterious Brooker has powered up
Broker.
Broker. My bad. Has powered
That's
up
not,
Ghost Rider's next nemesis and is going to take the combined hellfire of Rider and Johnny Blaze to stop him.
yep.
So, hey, you must be a powerful dude, Scarecrow. And it takes 2 Ghost Riders to defeat him. Dude, that's dark.
Yep.
Because one Ghost Rider is already powerful because, like I said, he will be the voice of reason in any situation. So why? And he's powerful. Like he can literally disintegrate anything, take control over anything. Anything he rides catches fire. Like 2 of them to defeat 1? No, there's no way. I feel like there's a catch to that.
Read and find out.
And let's go. Spider-Man India. I'm skipping about 2 or 3 because I don't really care for those titles. Now this one I never really understood.
I believe this is because of the synergy from the Spider-Verse movie, where a lot of the multiversal characters are getting some shine.
But I'm India. Like there's a Spider-Man in India now.
Again, this is like the multiverse for Spider-Man characters, or the Spider-Verse. So Spider-Man India, or Pavitir, I probably butcher this if I pronounce it. Pavir, I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. So a lot of these multiverse or Spider-Versal characters are getting solo series. Spider-Man, yeah, I'll admit the name's not the best, but you got to understand the synergy here.
Yeah, like I understand there's a lot of multiverses. They just threw me for a loop because I never heard of Spider-Man India. But I kind of understand because they're only on their 2nd volume.
Yep.
And there's one more that I think you'll be interested in.
Okay.
Mandalorian Volume 2.
Nice.
And that's what you're looking at.
Nice.
And let's see what it says. It says the Mandalorian must ferry a passenger with precious cargo on a dangerous journey. Stephen Cummings' Crimson Reign Hidden Empire joins Rodney Barnes for issue number 2 of the Galaxy Spanning series. So is the Mandalorian basically Boba Fett?
No, Mandalorian is a separate character from Boba Fett, but they're similar enough.
What's the difference?
One was presumably killed off before being retconned back to life for his own miniseries, and the other is, for all intents and purposes, a Boba Fett ripoff.
So I guess one is just cheaper to produce than
Pretty much.
Boba Fett.
Because again, if you've saw the original Return of the Jedi when he fell in that Sarlacc pit, you assume Boba Fett was dead.
But then he came out on a show on Disney Plus. What was it called? Boba Fett or something like
The
that?
Book of Boba Fett, I believe.
Yeah, he's far from dead.
Yeah, but I think that was a spinoff due to the Mandalorian success, and they kind of used it to tease a plot point for season 3. I think that's the only reason they did it.
Yeah, but hey, if y'all are, I know there's a lot of Star Wars fans, so I would recommend this one than the Darth Vader one if I was to say.
Yeah, the Mandalorian definitely looks like it's the better product of the two. Nothing against Vader, it's an anthology series.
And I feel like as hype as the Mandalorian has gotten, yes, I would recommend this. And if you live in Georgia or around the Middle Georgia area, I will also drop 2 comic book stores that I would recommend going to get your comic books. They got graded comic books. They got graded cards. They got statues. Anything comic book related, video games, go there. It'll be all worth it. And so we're gonna go down to Ultimate Invasion. Now now this one I'm excited for. I am a huge fan of the Ultimate Invasion series.
I have nothing against bringing back the Ultimate Universe, especially since they kind of debuted in like 2003, 2004, that comic book line. So this is technically the 10-year anniversary for them. But I feel like in any other time, given a lot of the behind the scenes stuff going on, especially sales numbers, this was a desperate jump the shark move.
And it says the maker plans to make sure Earth's mightiest heroes never become heroes at all, and then he can reshape the universe into exactly how he wants to. So basically, King the Conqueror.
Pretty much.
But this is supposedly after King, though. So they're fighting each other, basically.
I guess it's a time travel story set. I would have to go back and read issue 1. I don't really know the full context here. And a dark what if story where Peter died instead of Gwen.
Now I saw this one today too. I saw this one at the comic book shop today. Spider-Gwen What If. It says Spider legend Gary Conway returns to his most famous Spider story for this What If, along with co-writer Jody Houser. What if Gwen Stacy didn't die on the bridge that day, but Spider-Man did?
Enough said, I presume.
I can't even imagine that. If Spider-Man died, but I thought he had the powers of a spider, which is self-heal.
I mean, I don't know if Peter specifically has a healing factor. I just know that he has like a spider sense or enhanced senses. The only way this would really work is if, in an attempt to save Gwen from the fall, he motions himself in just the right angle to where he takes the brunt of the impact and ends up breaking his neck on impact. Which is technically what happened to Gwen. Peter tried to use his webbing to catch her, and enough momentum was built up to where she pretty much tugged on the coil of the web, causing her neck. I think it was her back and then her neck. I don't know. But I just know that Gwen died from the fall. Peter couldn't adapt to the situation fast enough. Like she was falling off a bridge.
So kind of like the Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Pretty much.
How he tried to jump from the clock tower, but then when he shot the web, it just connected to her just like at that split second, and she hit her head.
It was too much Actually, she was propped just above the ground. Too much momentum had built up.
Oh, because, yeah. Oh, so it did. So it did catch her, but she still kind of went back a little bit.
Yeah, she kind of torted back, and she broke her neck. At least in the context of the movie. In the original comic, I think it just neck snap.
They did Gwen dirty on that one, boy.
Yeah, but I believe that storyline came out in 1976. I believe the death of Gwen Stacy. Hold on, let me look that up. What year did The Death of Gwen Stacy release? (1973). Oh, okay. The night Gwen Stacy died. That storyline was from June to July of 1973.
Whew, that was so long time ago.
Yep, and guess what? It's officially the 50 years since that storyline released. So I know Marvel's probably planning something by the end of the Zeb Wells run to highlight the 50th anniversary of the storyline.
Yeah, they're going to do something with Spider-Gwen for that.
If it's not going to be in a Spider-Gwen book, it's probably going to be like the death of Mary Jane at the end of the run.
Oh, that's just going to destroy Peter.
Hey, they did the same thing in Spider-Man the Animated Series where Gwen was literally a stand-in for Gwen. It's essentially the same story.
Touche. I'll give you that. I would definitely give you that. Or it'll be like the Amazing Spider-Man 3 when Gwen was just a replacement of Mary Jane. Ooh.
Yeah, y'all ain't ready for that conversation.
Ooh. Ooh, Dark Peter did her dirty.
To be fair, she was blackmailed by Harry to break off the engagement and dump him because Harry wanted Peter to suffer for killing his father. Even,
But you don't piss off a symbiote Peter because he just didn't care.
Harry was out of pocket. Harry was out of pocket. Not gonna lie.
That was kind of a dick move that Harry did.
But Peter also didn't tell Harry the full truth. Norman was going mad from the serum. He actually programmed his glider to probably to stab Peter from the back. His spider sense reacted fast enough to leap out of the way, and he was impaled below the belt.
That was an instant kill.
Instant kill.
And then at least Peter did the right thing of bringing him home.
Yeah, he did drop off the body and allowed him to be laid to rest, but he was honoring Norman's promise not to tell Harry the truth. Remember Norman as the man and father and not the monster he ultimately became.
Yeah, he said, Peter, don't tell Harry, and then died.
And yeah, that's your dad. Of course you're going to want revenge for that, which I understand, but at this point, it's one thing to have a miscued interpretation of the situation. It's another just to go out of your way to be a dick. Like, he proposed to this girl. Like, come on.
And then on top of that, Harry got took over by the goblin serum.
To an extent, but his infection of the serum wasn't as far along. He was at an earlier stage of it, basically.
Norman was just taking a lot of too much of it.
Yep.
And then didn't he get another dose in No Way Home too? Because when him and Peter
They tried
were
to
making a
cure
serum,
him,
he
and
said it didn't work.
they tried to cure him in No Way Home, but it didn't work. But that's because if Norman was taking the same amount Harry did in Spider-Man 3, the No Way Home cure probably would have worked. But Norman was taking stronger doses than that because he really wanted to show off his experiment and secure that government contract. Norman had built up a tolerance by that point because this was just before his death in Spider-Man 1. Norman had built up too much of a tolerance, something MCU Peter should have thought about. But again,
But
he's just a kid, so he couldn't have known.
so you got any comments? Anything Marvel that you want to get off your chest?
Yeah, I mean, this was a great stream. Hope maybe I'll, if someone requests it, I'll plan a video of what it would take to get me to to read Marvel again. That should be a interesting conversation. And all in all, man, just you're my brother, and I'm can't wait for the next Power Hour, man. This was a great stream.
Yep, I mean, we covered a lot. I feel like the comics are really making a comeback. There was a few that didn't really hit me that hard, but majority of them sounds really interesting.
And that's normal in the business. You're gonna have a few every week. You're gonna have at least a few duds. But hey, if you noticed or discovered a comic that we didn't cover or one you really want to spotlight, let us know in the comments. You can follow me on Twitter, or I should say Twitter X, to just a rebrand, at JHeat75, and of course JHeat Blaze here on YouTube. You can find my brother at Kid Takeoff. And Kid, is there anything you want to say?
Not really. Oh, and new Apex clips are coming soon. I already got them recorded. I just got to make the thumbnails and edit them. And I think Dynamic Trio will be making a comeback. I want either this.
Yes, because Dynamic Trio,
later this week, maybe next week.
Yep. More detail on that I will post in the community tab. I just need to figure out what our next topic is going to be. But until then,
Now, what I think we need to do the topic on, we need. I want to do a comparison on all Dragon Ball and all of Naruto because I mean I feel like that fan base are going neck to neck.
okay, just don't blame me when we open Pandora's box.
I want to go crazy on that one. But yeah, like I said, follow me on Instagram, Twitter, IG, kid_takeoff. And
Like, comment, subscribe, flame off.